This week on Life in the Park, new cable TV service comes to the park. The Home Remodeling Fair is coming up fast. Check out the history of beer, wine, and spirits in the park. That and more on Life in the Park.
Welcome to this week's edition of Life in the Park. I'm Mary Schreier. In this week's cover story, ParkTV's John McHugh traveled to Steel Toe Brewing in the park and learned about the history of beer, wine, and spirits in St. Louis Park. That's coming up, but first, here's the latest news and events in the park. CenturyLink has been granted a franchise or contract to offer cable television service in St. Louis Park, in addition to its existing telephone and internet services. The effective date of the franchise was December 12, 2015, and CenturyLink began signing up St. Louis Park customers a few weeks later. The franchises vary somewhat from city to city and, to comply with state law, are very similar to the Comcast franchises in those cities. 3 members from the St. Louis Park Telecommunications Advisory Commission assisted city staff with the negotiations: Chair Bruce Browning, Toby Keeler, and Maren Anderson. The commission reviewed the key points of the franchise in September and directed staff to complete the negotiations and recommended the City Council adopt the proposed ordinance. The City Council approval came after a public hearing on November 2, 2015. As a result, there is another cable TV service provider to compete with Comcast. However, not all of the city can receive the service at this time. CenturyLink has 5 years to improve their system to offer service to the entire city. To find out if the Prism TV service is available in your area, visit CenturyLink.com/PrismTV, or you can call 866-642-0444. A Senate District 46 Town Hall meeting with the State Senator Ron Latz, State Representative Peggy Flanagan, and State Representative Cheryl Joachim is planned for Tuesday, February 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. at St. Louis Park City Hall. While the West Metro Home Remodeling Fair is a free event sponsored by cities of Golden Valley, Hopkins, St. Louis Park, and Minnetonka, as well as the Hopkins, Minnetonka, and St. Louis Park Community Education. Its goal is to provide residents with ideas, information, and resources to promote improvements to housing in each community. The West Metro Home Remodeling Fair features a wide variety of exhibitors with products and services related to home improvement, including remodeling contractors, architects, landscapers, financial leaders, and more. City inspectors are also on hand to answer questions about permits and other project requirements. The 2016 Home Remodeling Fair is Sunday, February 21st, 2016 from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Eisenhower Community Center. That's 1001 Highway 7 in Hopkins. The City of St. Louis Park and the Twin West Chamber of Commerce present the 2016 State of the City on Monday, February 29th, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Steel Toe Brewing. That's 4848 West 35th in St. Louis Park. The presentation from Mayor Jake Spano will take place from 5 to 6 p.m. Anyone with an interest in hearing more about St. Louis Park's direction for 2016 is invited to attend. Light refreshments will be available, and attendees may also purchase Steel Toe's craft beers. Later that evening, there will be a special City Council meeting at 7:30 p.m. in Council Chambers at City Hall. The public hearing includes the 2016 Pavement Management Program and Connect the Park construction project. Again, all interested parties are welcome to attend. The Friends of the Parks and Trails of St. Paul and Ramsey County, and including cities such as St. Louis Park, annual tree sale is happening now. Purchase a tree to be planted in a park within the City of St. Louis Park. With the continual loss of community trees due to invasive species, climate change, or other factors, planting trees in parks becomes ever more important. Your donation to St. Louis Park through Friends of the Parks and Trails will enable the city to select and plant specific trees for particular parks, thereby increasing the chances of long-term tree prosperity. Please visit friendsoftheparks.org for more information or to donate a tree to St. Louis Park. The Recycling Association of Minnesota, or RAM, has partnered with the City of St. Louis Park to provide rain barrels, compost bins, and kitchen compost pails at a discounted price to the public throughout the spring of 2016. Online ordering begins March 1st. You must pre-order online through the RAM website, recycleminnesota.org. Pick up your order at the City of St. Louis Park Municipal Service Center at 7305 Oxford Street. RAM is also holding several other sales throughout the spring. If you miss out, there are other opportunities throughout the metro area and Minnesota. Check the RAM website for more information about additional sale events, recycleminnesota.org. Health Partners Park Nicollet Health Services, based right here in St. Louis Park, was recognized as a 2015 Minnesota WasteWise Leader. The Minnesota WasteWise Foundation recognized Park Nicollet Health Services based on the implementation and positive results from efforts in energy efficiency, environmentally preferable purchasing, waste minimization, water conservation, and more. Park Nicollet Health Services reduced energy use by more than 6 million kBTUs, reduced water use by almost 9 million gallons, and diverted about 663 tons of waste from landfilling or incinerating. These efforts resulted in a savings of nearly $1,200,000 for the organization and supported their commitment to providing a healthier and cleaner community for employees, patients, families, and future generations. Congratulations to Park Nicollet Health Services. The City of St. Louis Park is in need of election judges for the upcoming 2016 election cycle. Election judges ensure that voting process in each precinct is smooth and accurate. Serving as an election judge is a great way to meet your neighbors, serve your community, and help provide one of our most cherished freedoms, the right to vote. St. Louis Park's 16 polling locations are staffed by citizens who are appointed as election judges. This is a paid opportunity and training is provided. For more information, contact Kay Madura at 952-924-2505 or kmadura@stlouispark.org. Bookmark in the Park will host its second annual Writers' Riot at Granite City Food and Brewery at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 3rd. This free author event is loosely inspired by National Public Radio quiz and information programs. The host will be former St. Louis Park Mayor Jeff Jacobs, a founding member and longtime supporter of Bookmark in the Park. The authors are Nancy Carlson, Jim Evavold, Aaron Hart, and David Housewright. Each author will answer some light-hearted, ice-breaking questions and have a few minutes to read from one of their books. The audience will also be encouraged to ask questions. Now, here's this week's Rec Minute.
Hi, I'm Lisa Abernathy with your Rec Minute. The St. Louis Park Operations and Recreation Department has a variety of employment and volunteer opportunities this summer. For youth entering grades 7 through 12 in 2016, we have volunteer opportunities in our summer park playground program as a junior leader or a junior naturalist at the Westwood Hills Nature Center. Both volunteer positions assist staff with program activities, crafts, and at the Nature Center animals. The number of hours is flexible and is based on your availability, interests, and our program needs. If you're looking for a fun paid position this summer, check out one of these positions. Summer playground leader, lifeguard, summer playground naturalist, splash pad attendant, and aquatic park deck crew are just a few of the many positions the Recreation Department hires during the summer months. Each position does have age requirements as well as job-specific qualifications. Check them out in full on the city website at stlouispark.org. Get out and enjoy this summer working outdoors and with the St. Louis Parks youth.
In this week's cover story, an interesting history of beer, wine, and spirits in the park from the early days prior to and during the Prohibition to present day was presented by the St. Louis Park Historical Society at Steel Toe Brewing in the park.
1911, so there's a fire on Brownlow Avenue where there stood the Methodist church that T.B. Walker had built. And right across the street is a saloon, probably my guess would be Werner's that we just saw. So that when the firemen arrived, they figured it was too late to save the church, and so they saved the saloon instead. So the minister was not too happy, apparently was concerned that they were saving the devil's establishment instead of God's house. So those are the early years of St. Louis Park. So one of the early organizers of Prohibition is the Women's Christian Temperance Union. And they are looking to create a sober and pure world by abstinence. It's a Christian organization, obviously. They had a lot of different interests: social reform issues, labor, prostitution, public health, sanitation, and suffrage would be another big one for them. So, as you might imagine, Prohibition doesn't really curb consumption. First, the saloons went underground and become known as speakeasies. And it would often have a legitimate business in front. So in St. Louis Park, we see a lot of confectionaries or candy stores pop up. Those are all speakeasies. And the speakeasy really becomes the model for the future bar and tavern or cocktail bar. So cocktails become popular at this time, and cocktails are really just a way to mask the moonshine, right? Because it's awful. So it's the 18th Amendment that brings Prohibition. We're going to come up to the 21st Amendment in a second. But just like the Volstead Act was the thing that created the laws around defining what beer is and what alcohol is, FDR had the ability to redefine what that was pretty quickly. And so he redefines what a non-intoxicating beer is, which he gets it up to 3.2, so 3.2% alcohol. And apparently upon signing the bill, he dryly remarked that he thought it was about time for a beer. If you're now wondering what did St. Louis Park do, we voted overwhelmingly to go wet by about 2/3 majority. And Mississippi was the last state to repeal their statewide ban in 1966. And today you have about 6% of the population that still lives in a dry county. You'll notice tavern now replaces the word saloon. So tavern is, they're offering food. Women are more permitted, or at least they want to step inside of it. So now we're going to march down Excelsior Boulevard. So we're going to start at Al's Bar, which is probably the premier drinking establishment in St. Louis Park, or at least at the time. And so it was built in the 20s, and you might guess what it was running as in the 1920s. It was a confectionery. So downstairs, they were not selling candy, they were selling beer. It was actually very nice downstairs. They had a big flagstone fireplace, people would play cards, drink, there was a slot machine. So at the end of Prohibition, the action moves upstairs. Al installs his famous horseshoe bar, pictured there. And the place opened early. People on their third shift could go there, have a drink. He cashed tons of paychecks on Fridays. We actually have one of his cash registers. It was also very important because it's the first bar over the Minneapolis border. And so, especially on election days in Minneapolis, when bars were closed on election days, Al's was the first bar to hit. So all roads led to Al's. So with that, I can take any questions, but otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and cheers.
Thanks to Ted Eckers and John McHugh for this week's cover story. On a personal note, today marks my last telecast of Life in the Park. As my year-long communications internship with the City of St. Louis Park has come to an end, I've accepted a new marketing position here in the metro area. Thank you for watching and supporting Life in the Park. It truly has been my privilege and pleasure to bring you the news and events important to all of us here in St. Louis Park. Remember, you can keep up to date, as always, in the park by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/St. Louis Park, or check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/St. Louis Park. That's it for this week's edition of Life in the Park. Thanks for watching. Join us next week for another edition of Life in the Park, right here on ParkTV.